this is a role of engagement that we'll be following tonight. You will each get 2 minutes to make an opening statement. Right? After that, we'll begin questioning. You get 5 questions each by these interviewers here. Bob Kessick will give you the time, or keep the time for you, and he'll let you know if you're running over. You'll get 1 minute to answer the question. After that, we're going to give you 2 minutes to redress or rebut any issue that you want, your choice. And then you'll get a 30-second wrap-up at the end, okay?
Okay. You just keep me straight. I'll do whatever you say. Pretty much.
All right. Well, then we'll start with you, Mr. Gorman. Would you like to give us your 2-minute opening statement?
Absolutely. Can everybody hear me, or do I need this?
You need that.
Hello, hi, I'm Steve Gorman. I live in Grayson County, the little town of Whitesboro. We're in the district. I didn't just move over there so I could run for this. I've been there 22 years. I'm retired from the airline business. I was a pilot for a long time. I started a business at home in my yard in 2001 after 9/11, about 4 days after 9/11, where I started training bomb dogs and patrol dogs for the government. Went to Afghanistan for the Army. Was over there for almost 2 years, not quite. Then I went to Iraq, I guess it was, for the State Department, and we worked on all the, well, I didn't have to work on them. I ran the dog teams for the State Department, a PCO oil program where Saddam had blown up all the wells during the Gulf War, and they were putting them back together. And so we went out and inspected everything coming and going from the deliveries. I instructed for American Airlines for a few years. I am not a politician. I'm not a politician. That's my thing. It has been since this thing started. That's why I got into it. I don't think we're always getting the right thing out of the folks that we send up there, to say the least. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
Mr. Gorman, the next time you use the microphone, keep it closer to your mouth. So
Will do.
Okay, Mr. McCord.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tim McCord. I have a wife and 2 sons who are grown, and they're fine young men. And one thing you can't fake is good kids. So, right? And first, I'd like to say, what are you looking for in a congressman or indeed any elected official? First things I would think of are honesty and integrity. I've been an election judge for over 30 years, so I'm trusted with the elections. I was working for Collin County, and I was responsible for over $100,000, which was our yearly budget, so I'm trustworthy. The other thing you want is knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge, I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering from Rice University. I've been a grassroots person for 30 years, an engineer for 30 years, over 30 years. And wisdom is kind of God-given. You kind of either have it or you don't. And if you want to know the difference between knowledge and wisdom, is knowledge is going to get your stuff made cheap in China, but wisdom is knowing that dealing with communists never ends well. So that's where I would comment on that. One thing that would separate me from the other fellows is I'm an engineer, I'm not a politician or a lawyer, and I've been a grassroots person for, like I said, a long time, over 30 years. And I believe in being specific, not a bunch of generalities. Anybody that's got my emails, if you haven't, I've got copies here that I can give you a hard copy of actual things that I would plan to do that would solve some of the problems that we have. I think that's probably about 2 minutes.
Okay. We will now begin the round of questioning, and the interviewers will be addressing you. And you each get 1 minute for an answer.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCord, Obamacare continues to have a lasting impact on health care with high health insurance premiums and astronomical deductibles, pricing middle-income families out of health insurance and onto Medicaid, or going without health insurance entirely. What should Congress do about this?
Okay. Anything about-
1 minute for this answer.
1 minute. I'm going to answer real quick. Okay.
No,
First
please
thing.
use your mic.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, first thing is bring back catastrophic insurance and, what was it, single illness insurance. Everybody know what that is? Okay. And that's one thing that saves a lot of people a lot of money. The reason they don't do it is because Obama didn't like the fact that the insurance companies weren't making as much money off it. That's the reason there. The other thing is they need to limit lawsuits. Every time someone gets $10 million because of some small problem, then that means 10 million other customers are each paying $1 more for their medicine. Let's see, the other thing is, I think the medical industry they spend way more than they do on advertising than they do on on research. So they need to ban that because I'm telling them.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mr. Gorman, same question. Do you need me to repeat it?
First thing we need to do, we got rid of the,
Please, use the microphone.
sorry, we got rid of the individual mandate on Obamacare. But Obamacare's still out there. We need to get rid of it. We need to go to a market-based insurance. You ought to be able to buy your insurance in Arizona, Pennsylvania, or wherever it's available. Shouldn't be stuck this place or that place. The market almost always works. So if we go to a market-based insurance and get rid of Obamacare, that's going to take care of you. If you want catastrophic-only insurance, you ought to be able to buy it. Obamacare is not going to work. It didn't work. They were told it wasn't going to work before they passed it, and they passed it anyhow, and it didn't work. They can't take care of 40 million people in the VA. They certainly can't take care of 340 million people in the United States.
Okay, Mr. Gorman, we'll start with you. If elected, what single thing do you want to have accomplished by the end of the first full 2-year term?
How many?
Your first term, what would you like to have accomplished at the end of your first term?
In my first term, I'd like all the fires to be put out in the cities that are on fire at this time. I mean, we're in a sinking ship. We got a hole in the bottom of it. We're taking on water. It's listing to the starboard side, and the upper deck's on fire. So before we can do all of that, it's kind of like talking about when the ship's going down, what are the kind of bunk beds do we want to put in the guest cabin? I mean, really, we got to put the fires out before we can get into that. We've got so many problems out there, and are we going to get them done in a year? I'd like to get rid of the Department of Education in Washington. I'd like to return it to the states. I would like to start talking to the colleges that are teaching our kids that communism and socialism is the best thing in the world. And we have ways of doing that if we can get interested and do it.
Mr. McCord.
Okay, I think it's the economy is the biggest problem right now. We had a great economy up until February when I believe it was China infected us. Okay, and we need to get the economy back on. There are several things that we can do right now. One thing is the roads are not as heavily traveled, so this would be the time to try and fix that crumbling infrastructure, which puts more money. That's one place where the government can really make jobs indirectly by hiring contractors to fix the roads and things like that. We've got a lot of factories that are sitting idle that can be repurposed, and we saw how fast we could repurpose them to make things like this here, right? So why can't we repurpose them all to make medicine? And just announced, I think on Friday, heard coming home, that Kodak is repurposing their factory to make medicine. And again, it's the economy is the main thing that I would want to see better.
Okay. Mr. Gorman, what current member of the U.S. House of Representatives do you most ideologically align with?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
What current member of the U.S. House of Representatives do you most ideologically align with?
I like
Please
Louis
use your
Gorman.
microphone, Steve.
So if I go up
Steve,
there,
use your microphone.
Louis Gorman.
Mr. McCord, same question.
I would say the of him, but I had a hard time between him and Nate Crenshaw. Those are my two favorites.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. McCord, would you join the U.S. House Freedom Caucus? Why or why not? Would you join the U.S. House Freedom Caucus?
The Freedom Caucus, I believe I would, because that sounds like it's in line with my principles.
Thank you. Mr. Gorman, same question.
You have to repeat it, ma'am. Seems to be a lot of echo up here, so maybe back off the mic just a little.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Did you, so would you join the House Freedom Caucus?
Yes. Yes.
Thank
First
you.
thing.
Thank you.
Is there one more question?
Yes.
She's thinking.
I'm pondering.
She wants to zap them.
See, they had short answers.
That's
so
right.
I'm looking for a little more, a little more.
Please, no pressure on the questioner.
Okay, here's one. And we will start with Mr. McCord. The United States Supreme Court is the final word on questions of constitutionality. True or false, and why?
The final word, yes, they are. However, you can always make other laws and send something right back up because it's final for a limited time. I can explain that by history. The Dred Scott decision, remember what everybody knows what that is? Dred Scott said that blacks weren't real people, so they didn't have rights. That stood for a long time. The 14th Amendment said that people born in the United States, which was intended to make the slaves as citizens, that held for a long time, still today. It was supposed to be just for slaves, but then they decided in 1898, I believe, that anyone born here is a citizen, which is incorrect. Now, all we got to do is pass a law that says that that's not true, bring it back to the Supreme Court, and a new court can change that.
Okay. Mr. Gorman, I'm going to give you a different question. What policies do you support relative to immigration into the United States? And if you would, consider the full gamut of President Trump's policies on immigration.
On immigration right now, we're, of course, not enforcing the rules that we've had in place. You keep hearing about immigration system's broken. It's not broken at all. It's just not being enforced. What we already have on the book, we have something like 22,000 pages of federal regulations in the register. And we don't need anything else. We need to start enforcing the laws that we have. We need to take a hard look at the H-1B visa program and other visa programs. We're bringing in 500,000 or 600,000 people to take American jobs now. We've got 30 million people out of work. So we need to get a handle on the visa programs that big business, high-tech business, are wanting to lower their wages. We've got people coming out of school every year that need these jobs, and we keep bringing them in. We need to stop these visas to help these companies. Microsoft, Facebook, Google, they don't need cheap labor. They need to have a place for these people that come out of school every year to go work with 30 million people.
Thank you. Okay, the next, that is the fifth question, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I went
Sure,
fast.
it's GAWTP. Okay, gentlemen, you're off the hot seat now, and you can rebut or readdress any issue you want to, and you have 2 minutes. Mr.
Any
Gorman,
issue that was brought up,
any issue is brought up or anything you'd like to address?
I'd like to address the same thing I've been addressing for 3 months. Part of the problem that we have now and why we're in the position we're in now in large part is because we keep sending politicians to Washington that are only up there to take care of themselves. It used to be a selfless job. Now it's a selfish job. We've got too many people that do nothing because they want to protect their position. 77% of the citizens in this country think that they are up there to take care of themselves first. 74% of the people in this country think that after they get up there, they forget all of you. They get up there, and they used to stay in 1789 for 1 to 3 years, and they were paid $50 a session. Now they're paid $175,000, and they stay like 242 years, I think, or something like that. We don't need that. So what happens when this happens? Well, you get 2 politicians, and then you pick up 3 that become best friends. And every one of them, if they put a bill out there, their little cabal votes for that, no matter what. And when the next one comes up with something, they all vote for it. Additionally, we've got these lobbyists. Something's got to be done on that. That's why we've got this Senate Bill 362, I believe, that Mike Lee from Utah brought up, to take the cap off the people coming in from India and China. We don't need to be bringing those people over here with green cards. And that cap is going away if he gets his way. It may not happen, but if it does, in addition to the 1.2 million or 3 that we bring in, we're going to be bringing in more, giving them a green card. Some of them are working for free just to get the green card.
Hey, Mr. McCord.
Okay, first I'll finish the question that I got cut off on before, was when you go to the doctor, you pay them to tell you what to take. You shouldn't be going into the doctor asking them, hey, I saw this medicine on TV, should I be taking that? Is that a good idea? Like the one with the 2 people in the bathtubs out in the woods? You know? I'm still not sure what that's about. But, asking is, so I'm paying them to tell me. Okay, that's the first thing. And that would cut down. So I would ban advertisements to the general public. And most every country in the world actually does that already. So that would save a lot of money right there. Another thing is get rid of the 7.5% trigger on the income tax, to where all the medical expenses are deductible. A couple things I'd like to talk about is abortion. One thing is that Roe versus Wade, if that gets overturned, what happens is going to become a states' rights issue again, and it'll be 50 states you'll have to work on. So what my suggestion would be is, look what the Democrats have done. They've redefined gender, they've redefined family, they've redefined marriage. Why don't we define what is a human being? Well, a human being has unique DNA, right? So if the mother and the baby have 2 different sets of DNA, they have unique DNA. So if we declare what a human being is just by codifying that, then the baby, guess what? They've got all the rights of any other citizen of the United States, right? So, which includes life. Another thing is the Veterans Administration is an example of what national health care is, right? Because you have to, veterans, that's what you get. And so my suggestion would be have the veterans get a card, they can go in and they get free medical for life. Then the $250 billion that they spend now is unbelievable. They don't need to be doing doctors and hospitals. So, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, just made it.
And now, if you would take 30 seconds and just give us a wrap-up and send us on our way tonight. Okay? We'll start with Mr. McCord.
Oh, wrap-up. 3 seconds?
30.
30.
30.
Oh, 30 seconds.
3 seconds.
Get the mic. Oh, the mic, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming tonight, and I appreciate it. If anyone wants to talk to me before they hit the road, you're welcome to. I'll be glad to stick around. And God bless everybody, and be careful out on those roads. We lost a good friend last week, as you know. Justice Bridges was killed outright. He was only about a couple of miles from his house. Drove all the way out here and drove back, and that's all she wrote. So be safe going home.
And Mr. Gorman.
I would like to do something that I don't know if anyone else has done it before. I haven't seen it. I'd like to form a legislative executive committee if I'm up there. In other words, it'd be consisted of chairs of the county and the districts. Most of the things that's going to come across that I'm going to have to vote on, I will know in advance exactly what I'm going to do, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm not going to have sometimes I'm not going to have I'm not going to care a whole lot. I could go either way. So So, can I finish my sentence?
You can finish your sentence.
Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contact the people that I've met in here. I'll contact the chairs in the 18 counties, and I'll say, you tell me what you guys want. What's it
That was a
like?
whole paragraph.
And I will vote that way. I'm representing you, not myself.
Thank you very much, Kevin.